What's up, YouTube? All right, so we have the Lexus sitting here. I'll update you guys on what's going on with that, but over here, it's a little messy, but you can see it's empty. So I think we're gonna change that today. Well, this ought to do. So the truck is a rental, but the trailer and what's inside is all mine. So let's open it up and see what we got inside there. Let's start with the side door. And we got an engine in here. This is a 408 short block, basically nitrous build. Don't really know much else about it, but you guys want to see what's over there, but let's look at it from the back. All right, see what we got in here. Whoo! It's a 98 Trans Am 427 LSX, single 94 millimeter turbo. Let's get it out of here and we'll look at it a little bit closer. All right, guys, it's been a couple weeks since that last clip when I showed the car in the trailer. I'm terrible about filming stuff. I was terrible about filming stuff when I got the car. I was terrible about filming stuff getting it out of the trailer into the garage. I do have some excuse. A lot of people showed up to look at the car. Neighbors stopped by, the whole nine. So anyway, it's a couple weeks later. We're in the garage. A lot of things have changed. So let's get you guys caught up. First thing you guys might notice, there's no cars on this side at all. Nothing over here. That's right, the Lexus is gone. I'll catch you guys up on that in a little bit. But let's talk about the more exciting stuff, the new car. So this is a 1998 Trans Am. Pretty serious car. We're gonna go through it here in a second, but I have a lot of history with this car. So if anyone's wondering why the heck I ended up with this car in particular, there is lots of reason for that. Basically, my best friend and I built this car early, like 2008, 2007, sometime around there. I think he owned it for about 7 years, and him and I did all the work on it except the cage, and I think that's it. I think we did everything else. And then he ended up getting rid of it, and I've been bugging the guy he sold it to ever since he sold it to him to sell it to me. And I finally was able to make that work. So let's kind of look at this thing. We'll start in the back and work our way forward. All right, not a whole heck of a lot going on back here. You can see it's got a parachute. The chute is actually in the passenger seat right now, but pretty basic. 5-gallon fuel cell, battery box, shut off, rear firewall. Some of the stuff is going to change. You can see it's been mini tubbed. Rear suspension is a fabricated 9-inch. All the suspension is Midwest chassis. It's got a fabricated 9-inch, Moser axles, Weld S71 rear wheels for now. It's got the Midwest anti-roll bar, all the upgraded arms, the short torque arm, Menser double adjustable coilovers in the back. That's pretty much it in the back. Fuel system, since we're in the back, right now it's a 5-gallon fuel cell, but I'm going to change that. We'll talk about that in a second. It's a Magna Fuel 750 pump with Magna Fuel filters. I'm going to keep that for the main pump, and I'm probably going to add a secondary pump and filters for street driving. Yes, this car will do drag and drive. I'm probably going to move the battery. Not 100% sure on that yet. Yeah, it's also a Stroud chute with a spring launcher. I'm probably going to change it to air just because I hate that big can on there, and I'm going to have air in the car anyway. Back glass is optic armor. So is the front windshield. Let's kind of move inside the car. I should have opened the other door because this door sounds terrible. It is a 25.5 chassis. It's got 2 Kirkis in it. Midwest steering column. You can see it's got the old Holley screen. That's got to get changed out actually. The dashboard for the car is in the house. Wiring panel is pretty much all going to stay the same. It's a Leash Electronics relay board, and then some additional relays over here. I need to go through some of that and make sure it's working the way I want it to work, but that's all probably going to stick around to some extent. It has a Holley Dominator in it. It's a PPI shifter. This car currently has a FTI Power Glide, level 5 Power Glide. So it's an aftermarket case, Pro Torque converter, PST carbon drive shaft. The cage is kind of unpainted for the most part because it needs to get certified. So they need to check all that stuff over and look at it, which I will be doing in the springtime. Let's kind of move up front now. Okay, up front, Weld Alumistar front runner, 17-inch. Also, it's got strange brakes, front and rear. This is the full Midwest chassis front suspension. This car is actually the prototype for the Midwest chassis suspension, the front suspension, I should say. So it's the first set that they ever made. Under here, obviously, there's a lot going on. So you can see it's got engine bay bars, which is great. It's got a fire system, which I forgot to show you in the back. This turbo kit, except for this modification here, is actually a turbo kit that Chris and I built way back when. So this intercooler, I forget who makes the core, but I designed and made the end tanks at my work and welded them up. It's all 4-inch aluminum intercooler piping. It's 4-inch stainless down pipe, and then probably won't be able to see, but it does change to aluminum back there, and there is a muffler, believe it or not. AEI CNC motor plate and mid plate. It's still a truck manifold setup, probably hard to see. The turbo is a Garrett GT5533R 94 millimeter. The engine is a 427 LSX based engine with ET Performance LS7 cylinder heads. I can't remember who makes the sheet metal intake manifold. As you can see, it's got a dry sump, so it's a Peterson tank, daily pump. It's an electric water pump down there. That's all still from how we had the car before. Manual brakes. What else? We did this radiator setup and mount and all that. So it's kind of interesting. The car's been gone from us for 8 years, I think, and a lot of it's still the same. You know, some things have changed. The car used to be red is the biggest thing. It's got a beautiful black paint job on it. It's got the VFN Sunoco hood, which is my favorite hood for these things. But a lot of things are still the same. A lot of the plumbing is still the same. A lot of the fabricated stuff is still the same. Obviously, changes for like the dry sump and things like that, but for the most part, it's still very similar to how it was back when we originally did it. A little bit more of the cage. Optic armor, front window too, which probably can't even tell, but it got scratched right there and driving it back from Florida, which is where I got the car from. But yeah, this is the new toy. So it has been sitting. The guy who bought it did a lot of work on it and then really just kind of ran out of time. I don't think he ever actually raced it. He maybe made some partial hits at the track, but never actually raced it. I've cranked it. I have not actually started it. My plan is to pretty much go through it front to back, top to bottom, system by system, and just make sure everything is, you know, perfect shape. I'm gonna make some changes for drag and drive. The plan is to race the car, but also to do drag and drive with it. I don't think I'll drive it on the street as much as I drove the Lexus, but I do want to drive it on the street. There are challenges to that. Couple quick things. No more headlights. It's all been taken out. These are just the covers that are still on here. The 5-gallon fuel cell is obviously not going to cut it. You know, just a handful of things like that, but all pretty easy things, easily surmountable. I need to find out a few more things about the engine. You know, they're injector dynamic injectors, but I don't know the size. I don't know what the tune is like on this thing at all. I know it's been on a dyno. I think it made something like 1,200 horse on relatively low boost, but it should make more than that, and we're gonna see what it can do. But yeah, this is the new project.